All right, so I'm joined here today by my brother, Brian Thompson, and he spent 5.5 years in management of a restaurant. And so we're going to talk about some of the challenges that he may have faced while working as a leader there. So, Brian, first off, thanks for being here and doing this with me.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. So what are some things that, as a manager, that you came across in your 5.5 years of experience that changed from maybe year 1 to year 5?
Year one was a lot of building teams, and then COVID happened, and that was disassembling the entire team. And then about 6-8 weeks later, getting back and reassembling the team into year 5, then having a team or an all-star team, so to say.
Right. So a lot of ups and downs there with the building of the team and then having to basically tear everything you just did down.
Absolutely.
And then redoing it all. So what are you looking for as far as your team members, or like what kind of characteristics do you look for with that?
Funny enough, the very first thing I look for is if they showed up on time.
Mhm.
That's like the biggest thing. I can teach you any skill that is needed, but I can't teach you to be there on time. If they're well moldable, which you can kind of just tell in a conversation with them, there's just little markers that kind of just show up.
I gotcha. So you're really looking for someone who's willing to grow within that organization and be willing to maybe change themselves.
Absolutely. In a lot of kitchens, especially higher up, it can be very militant.
Sure.
And just regimented, and it's doing the same thing every day and just getting prepared to be the best at it every single day.
Did you notice any change in kind of the personnel that you were bringing in from year 1 to year 5? Was there any challenges there as far as, did the people change on how they behaved or whatnot?
Funny enough, yes. There was a lot of good candidates in the earlier days, and it thinned out later, especially after, just the world changed a lot
Right.
in that time period.
Absolutely. So those external kind of problems that were happening changed kind of how you had to operate there.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So going with that, was there anything that the organization itself did to try and combat some of those changes that were happening outside of the restaurant?
Well, and a big thing was when coming back from COVID, the organization they always called it a full court press in all of the like Indeed sites, job listing sites and everything. We actually had people as high up as our, CFOs and whatnot. They were contacting interview people, just trying to get, because it was really hard to get people back into the kitchen.
Yeah.
So it was a full court press to get everybody, try to get as many people in as possible to just interview.
So some people who maybe it wasn't in their job description to be necessarily hiring had to kind of take a step down, I would guess you would say.
All hands on deck.
All hands on deck.
Yep.
Awesome. So what have you learned and taken on from those 5 years of experiences into your current job, which is outside of a kitchen? What are some lessons from those challenges that you really want to take and move on with?
Being the ultimate team player is the biggest one when you're in a leadership and in a management role. You're as strong as your weakest link, is as cliche as that may be, it is the truth. And one sour grape ruins the whole bunch of times and can really make for really terrible times. So now in my role, not as a leader, and as a cog in the machine,
Sure.
I look for whenever anybody needs help, that I'm helping them outside of my normal duties, and whatever things I can do to take off of my supervisor's plate is a big deal for me.
So you've kind of gotten the chance to really take what you learned as a leader and what helped you and almost apply it to now what are your leaders to then be the best part of the team that you can be.
Yep, and then what they need, and then obviously I would like to get back into some sort of role as I am now in a total different career. There is a goal to get back there, in management.
Are there, so you're now working outside of the kitchen and in supply chain?
Yes,
So what are some challenges that you've seen there that are outside of the organization with you have to adapt to?
so just real quick, I work for a company that I am the distribution center for California. We service a bunch of fast food chains and stuff like that. A very big thing that has been a high issue has been raw ingredients and our suppliers not being able to get them in order to get us our product so that we can ship it out to our restaurants.
Gotcha, so it's been more so the suppliers, less so getting it there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, getting it there has been its own big issue too, but the supplier is tenfold more of the issue.
Sure, so what have you or your company kind of set in place in ways to adapt to that?
Multiple things. One big one is, if there's any DCs that are close by, they hold on to some extra stock in case something like that happens where, hey, you had 80,000 pounds of French fries coming in today, and guess what? They're not coming in today now. Well, crap, let's get a truck from Southern California up to Northern Cal to cover us for the next day when that next one can come, when they are able to reproduce their product and get it to us then.
Gotcha, so you always got that kind of backup plan where you guys can help each other out and
Most of the time, yes.
and
Yep.
make some progress. So do you have communication with those employees that are running those other districts then to
Very much so.
facilitate that?
Very much so. We run as teams, so to say. So there's like, I think 16 team members on our side, which is the West Coast. So we're all from Portland to Southern California to Denver is the West Coast. So all of us work together. Most all of us have the same concepts there from Portland to Southern California. So we all sometimes share in the same problems, but sometimes somebody was a little heavier in stock and they can spare some to help out and all that good stuff.
So you guys are closely intermingled and understand kind of what each other's going through
Yes.
when it comes to like, oh, I've got a problem right now.
Yes, so us individuals, we're communicating with each other about, just, day in, day out problems, but then also like, oh man, I have a problem that I need to fix right now. Then our team leads are in communication with our senior manager, and then they're on communication with our CAMs, which are corporate account managers, who talk directly to our customers and say, hey, our supplier, who they're in contracts with and work on things together, they're not helping us out right now. We need some help. And then that means we get the heavy hitter customer to get a hold of their supplier.
Gotcha. So that's kind of how your organization's hierarchy is kind of set up so that nothing can go severely wrong.
Yes, there's a lot of checks and balances in there to kind of, if one thing goes wrong, there's 3 other things behind it to help it.
And so that also helps with those outside problems coming in with,
Greatly.
other things that you really can't control or necessarily foresee. But that's how you guys have kind of adapted to that, to where you've got that, like you said, checks and balances to where it'll all work itself out with the support of your team.
Absolutely. And I work for a great company now that there's a lot of longevity. There's a lot of lifers, so to say, a lot of people that have been there for a long time, and they're always willing to jump in and help too. Everybody's willing to jump in and help for anything at any time, which is huge.
Yeah, that sounds very cool. Very cool. Nice to have the helping hand.
It is nice sometimes.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I thank you for taking some time and sharing with me your experience and how you've taken it on and all the outside stuff that's kind of gone on and how you've adapted to it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.